DoMa Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, count down. It's a long countdown though. But count down to the September fight, the big one, baby. Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo Cinnamon Alvarez. You know, biggest fight in boxing. We had a little, little disagreements this week about is it the biggest fighting in boxing or not. But everybody who's saying it is not, well, ain't really everybody, about one or two dudes, uh, give us a bigger one. And if you can't, then shut up. Really simple, because there really isn't a bigger fight than these guys. And it's, 200 million going in the fight. 150 million for Canelo Alvarez and 50 million for Bud is what you're hearing. Now, when I hear things like that, numbers like that, I always got to go to Pulp Fiction. That last scene when they was in the little restaurant at the end and somebody was trying to steal Samuel L. Jackson's suitcase, but he couldn't give it up. And John Travolta came out the bathroom because Samuel Jackson was going to give him some money, the robber some money. And he said, I'll shoot you just out of principle if you give him that money. Right? 150 million for Canelo fighting this guy 3 divisions lower than him. It almost makes you want to just boycott the damn thing for principle. It's not worth that. And I don't like Canelo getting 3 times more than Terrence Crawford. It's just the principle because you ain't 3 times better. Right? I know all this face of boxing stuff, but that all has reasons why people just be popular. In terms of talent, it shouldn't be one getting way more money than the other one. You know what I'm saying? Just it shouldn't. But that's just those are wishful thinking. The world is just not that way. That's a lot of damn money for a guy that's should just beat up this little guy, pretty much for a couple of million. But whatever. That's a whole different thing. But anyway. It's the biggest fight in boxing, and hands down, to be honest with you. Now, when you're looking at this fight, I've been saying from day one when it got signed or before it was signed, if it happened, I don't think Canelo's going to show up, right? I still think that. Something going to happen before the fight, right? The other thing I would say is Crawford might retire this guy. He's going to retire after the fight. Those are the 2 things I've been saying. I know it's negative. I know that, but I don't really have many positive things to say about Canelo. Don't get it twisted, though. I can do a positive Canelo video about his defense and his chin and stuff like that. Things I like about him. But his fans have made him into an ass, right? Just because, if you let a person become this way, then they're going to become that way. You have to say, hey, stop here and, do what other fighters do. So he's become an ass. He wasn't that way at the beginning. But anyway, so, I just don't forgive stuff like that. I just say it like it is. So I'm not really a big fan of his. Understand that he's a good fighter. Now, Canelo, the reason why I say that he wasn't going to show up at the fight to fight Crawford is because he's realized that Canelo's not into passing legacy. I keep saying this over and over, but new people come in from time to time. He's not into for passing legacy. I've been seeing this for the longest. He got real popular and found out he doesn't have to take hard fights, but still be considered better than the guys he's not going to fight, right? And if you have that luxury, then you're going to become crazy. You're like, I don't got to do this. I'm the best. I didn't have to fight Demetrius Andrade when I was his mandatory. I didn't have to fight Demetrius Andrade when it was for undisputed at the middleweight division, which I said I had to be. I didn't have to fight my hard mandatory in Jamal Charlo. They gave me a franchise title. I didn't have to, when I was too big for 154, but too small for 160, I didn't really want to fight the 160 pounds. I made a whole division, 155 pounds, and everybody starts saying it's Canelo weight. The franchise title, they start saying the franchise title in the ring, in front of the whole world. Right? I'm just not going to fight Demetrius Andrade. I'm going to call him horrible. I'm not going to fight David Benavidez, and I'm just not going to do it. Who has he fought? Just one fighter, Andre Durrell. Doesn't matter that he's my mandatory. Just in daylight, in front of everybody. So what is he supposed to become? You know what I mean? What is he supposed to become? I want 200 million to fight David Benavidez. I want 150 million to fight Terrence Crawford. And nobody says, man, if you don't get the hell out of our face with that, shut your ass up and sit down somewhere and go way to the back of the line. Matter of fact, we don't want to see you no more. He hasn't had that kind of conversation because he hasn't had to deal with people like me or you. You right? He's just had to deal with people that's just happy to be in the room with him. And hey, whatever. I'm from LA. We in a room with a lot of stars, so I grew up like that. I don't give a damn if it's a star. Either you're right or wrong in what you're up to, and like running around wanting a selfie with somebody. No, if I don't break bread with him, I don't really want a selfie with him anyway. No matter who he is. Maybe Hakeem Olajuwon, and it probably stops there. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, but that's just me though. Whatever. But sometimes you got to be like, oh well, bro, I don't like what you stand for. So we could talk or whatever, but that's it. You know. So you don't be fans of everybody just because some they're popular. The other people are fans of them, whatever. But anyway, I'm getting off the deep end. So I said he ain't gonna fight Terrence Crawford because he don't like to pass legacy. If he fights Terrence Crawford and Terrence Crawford beats him, Terrence Crawford gets a lot of props from this. Now, they're starting to already try to say Canelo is this, he's lost a step, right? But I might do an extra video about that because my point about losing a step is what step? What step you lost? The step that you had when you was 23 fighting Floyd Mayweather? You didn't have too many steps then. A year or two later fighting Lara, what steps? Right? So what steps? When was he awesome? When? When he was 155 fighting smaller guys? That step? What step did he lose? The step when he just 3 years ago lost to Bivol? Did he have a step then? Where's the step at that he's supposed to have lost? So that's what they're trying to say before Crawford fights him, because the fear is if Crawford mess around win this fight, then, damn, Crawford gets props. So that's one of the reasons I was saying Canelo might not make the fight. Now, if he does make the fight, I was saying Crawford could retire him. Not necessarily meaning Crawford can stop Canelo. Canelo has one of the best chins you ever want to see. It's Joe Joyce level chin Canelo has. The difference, I would say Joe Joyce's chin is better because Joe Joyce gets hits flush more than Canelo does. Joe Joyce gets hits flush and keep coming. Canelo has great defense. He don't really get hit flush too often. He's moving with it, right? But he's still got a chin. He's fought a lot of guys, and Canelo, you don't see Canelo hurt, wobbled, or on the floor, right? You got to give him that at 60 fights. You got to give him that. Love him or loathe him, you got to give him that. Great defense, in my opinion, and a great chin. Period. And I think it's fair, seeing as though he can't move that well. It's fair. You can't just have every attribute. Who the hell are you? You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. I think, though, that if Crawford beats him and stops him in a different way where it's just like he's getting beat bad, that could be stopped. But I doubt that because Bivol's damn near had it that way, right? So I don't think Canelo, nobody's going to beat him to where they're stopping him. But if Canelo gets beat in a one-sided fight, then the best thing to do is retire. Reason why, you're about to have 150 million, and retiring after that would at least give the illusion of, guys, I just don't have it anymore. I'm leaving. And and we all know he ain't gonna retire but nothing for the year. He just missed Cinco de Mayo after that, and then fight next September in a comeback fight against somebody he can beat again. But it at least would take a little bit off of the Terrence Crawford is so awesome. So that's why either he's not going to fight him or retire if Crawford beats him by unanimous decision. And let me make sure this is clear. If Crawford beats him by unanimous decision, that would mean he would have got his ass handed to him, because he got his ass handed to him by Floyd Mayweather, and it still wasn't a unanimous decision. The infamous draw given by that Bird, I think her name was. Anyway, those are the reasons. And not only me is saying that he might retire after this. Eddie Hearn said, Eddie Hearn, y'all know him, the promoter, famous promoter from Great Britain, Matchroom head, got it from his father. Eddie Hearn has said that he thinks Canelo will retire after the Crawford fight. He said after seeing him, thinks he's losing a step, and after seeing him in the Skull fight, You know, and he also said something else. He said he didn't think he was going to show up to the Terrence Crawford fight. I mean, he's basically quoting me almost. You know, people act like they don't see who DoMa is, right? Nobody say my name nowhere. But damn it, people see who the hell I am. Because I get stuff right too much. Because I don't give a damn, right? Just tell you how it is from a sport fan perspective, right? And people know, they come here, damn, that little dude is telling the truth. Good, he ain't got no subscribers, so I ain't got to quote him, right? Bottom line is Eddie Hearn said he might not show up to the Terrence Crawford fight, and if he do, he might retire after the Terrence Crawford fight. I agree, right? I agree. Anyway, y'all, I got some more coming on this subject, but anyway, that could possibly happen. Canelo could possibly retire after fighting Terrence Crawford. Or, I'm still there, y'all. He might not show up. Something mysterious might happen before that fight. DoMa Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.